Welcome to the Kolahzadeh CyberSEC Leaders Webinar Series. I'm Richard Ritchie, Managing Director of Kolahzadeh. Now, Kolahzadeh, as many of you already know, we're an executive search and recruitment firm based here in Dubai, serving clients across the IT channel industry throughout the European area, Middle East and Africa, with a strategic focus on cybersecurity. Now, as part of our ongoing client and candidate value program, we're putting on this webinar series, and it's really aimed at business leaders like yourself to identify and help you guys attract key talent in the industry by discussing career objectives, trends, threats, and solutions with a variety of industry guests. Now, today, I'm excited to be joined by Amir Kolahzadeh, CEO of ITSEC. Now, ITSEC are an award-winning proactive cybersecurity services company that have been securing networks, protecting data since 2011. Say hello, Amir.
Thank you, Richard. Hello, everyone.
Excellent. Now, Amir, look, why don't you give our listeners a little bit more insight into exactly who you are, what it is you guys do at ITSEC.
Very good, very good. Well, we are a full cycle or a full-turn cybersecurity consultancy firm. That's where we started in 2011, doing basic consultancy and penetration testing. And throughout the last 10 years, and by the way, we were the first actually cybersecurity company in the region when we started. In the past 10 years, we have evolved many times over. Today, we are a SaaS, software as a service, cloud-based cybersecurity service provider. Our added advantage or added value over everybody else's, and that's what we're building on, is the human profiling factor that we built into our security solutions that I feel every other company out there just fails to look at, and it's all about ones and zeros, and the human factor is just always not there. So that's what we do. We provide small, medium. Yeah, of course. But even then, the technology companies fail to look at it or fail to address that problem because, well, it's a long story. We'll get to that another time. But so today we provide cybersecurity solutions to medium and small size businesses across all sectors, obviously from application providers on mobile all the way to banking, digital banking, and crypto exchanges and wallets.
Now, there's something interesting that you guys do that I haven't seen other companies do, because a lot of what you do, the solutions and services we've seen, dare I say, fairly commonplace, apart from, like you said, the human element definitely is something that needs to be explored in more detail for a lot of organizations. But there's something quite interesting about what you do at ITSEC, and that is the crypto exchange security. So can you just give us a little bit more insight into what that involves and why that's a big pillar of your current business strategy?
Very good. Well, everything that we do, every solution that we build in ITSEC, it pretty much is a derivative of every client we've had prior to that. So we kind of gather all of the patterns and the data and obviously all the calls we're getting and panics on our are you under attack line, and we try to address that problem. So in the past couple of years, we've been involved in fixing or remediating a few of the crypto exchanges, some of them, locally here, not locally in UAE, but in the region, and a few other ones outside. They were either under attack on a DDoS, denial of service, or ransomware was, they've been hit with the ransomware, or many other issues that they have. Once we start looking at the whole industry, it was incredible to see that an industry that is actually the core of it is online and being in e-commerce is actually just zero regards to security.
Is it worrying considering the amount of money that's traded?
it's just amazing that, you know, how they live, because the way this crypto businesses have all started, it's just some young kid that just knows to write enough code to get something online, and then suddenly just, you know, it goes from there.
Yeah.
And the other issue is that some of these guys, as I said, they're very young companies. They come into a lot of money. They grow too fast, and you know that is obviously, you know, something that they can't help themselves with. But they think security is compliance. So if they have to comply with a few regulations or laws out there, that's it. That's all they, you know, they don't think of it till they get hacked. And once they get hacked, it's just down, you know, it's just a whole easy road from there. So the issue is that they never looked at it. So what we found out that what was common and systematically amongst every single one of these guys out there, the ones that we talked to, the ones that we were a vendor for, the ones that we, you know, we just got some information from, that the basic security was just missing. Remote working, crypto just went crazy during the COVID. So all remote workers using their own computers, you know, just very, very hodgepodge ad hoc system that it's really against every protocol out there. So, and we saw that they don't have a solution. So if they hire an IT manager, these guys are running around and getting an antivirus from one place and trying to get another vendor for this, and there's just not enough, you know, room for all of that.
Just to clarify, Amir, are you talking about crypto exchanges, or what are the kinds of companies?
Exchanges. No. These are actual crypto exchanges, like the ones that you use, like Binance or DigiFinex or BitMEX. You know, all of these guys. They were either under attack. So what we did is we put a solution together that addressed every one of these attacks in the past, you know, 4 to 5 years. DDoS, ransomware, you know, many different aspects, AML, anti-money laundering stuff. So we took the solution, we packaged it up that they could address every one of these issues that they could have with, and sold it as a single solution. We're selling it as a single solution to these guys who now they don't have to get 50 different vendors, manage 50 different products, and it's hard to do. So it's a single product downloaded into their system, their servers, that provides them the protection, the monitoring, and prevention that they require.
Fantastic. And so is this a key focus for you now regarding crypto exchange? You obviously identified the opportunity here. This is part of your core business.
So as a sector, yes, but as a solution, pretty much because of the obviously the flexibility that the SaaS model offers, obviously, is that we could just easily, you know, replace one or another thing for another event, you know, another sector or another industry or another. So it's very easy. So the sector, I think that the crypto or digital banking sector, it's going to definitely boom within the next 5 years, and as that grows exponentially, I think the attacks on it is going to grow double exponentially. So that's a never-ending game. I mean, that's just going to be there. So yes, that sector is a really big focus for us. But meanwhile, because also there's money involved. I mean, there's huge amount of, you know, financial value is the only one of those sectors that a hacker can actually get some money. The other stuff is really, there's not a lot of financial gains in it. And as you know, the ransomware attacks are, you know, they have been crazy out of normality. This is just really bad out there. And at the bottom of the day, you look at it, it's not the hacker, and it's not the computers, or not the system or the network. It's just bad decisions made at the board level, always at the board. Because, you know, no IT guy is going to sit around and say, oh no, I don't want the latest thing. You know, no, I just don't know any IT guy that would say that. It's just that. So it's exactly, cybersecurity is one of those cultural things that has got to be driven from top to bottom. So, you know, going backward is not.
That is again a part of your offering. I think the education part of cybersecurity, right?
Yeah, the education obviously is huge part of it, which lacks, the education that is out there is just so basic and non. How do I say it? It's basic and it's non-punitive. Not punitive in a way that you deduct salary or you fire someone. One of the things that we built in, for example, these that our new solution offers is that obviously we have the antivirus in your system, the monitoring, checking the files. But at the same time, we're monitoring the behavior of the user of that particular system or that user. So, for example, if part of the testing is also a phishing email that goes out every hour, every few days, whatever that happens. If a user fails or clicks on 2 or more of these phishing emails, now we have the capability to lock his system automatically. His PC just locks up, takes him to a training portal. He has to take the training, which is a very short training, but intense, in order for his PC to open up to work. I mean, he's done. He just locks it up, says, you do not deserve to click. You need to take a training, just exactly. I mean, it's just exactly like the police and the driving. It took many years, many years for the punitive aspect of the driving side for us to get our habits of good driving or not good driving, right? It's that punitive part. If there was no fine, all of us will drive at 900 kilometers per hour, and that's just human nature. And I think that's the same thing evident when it comes to human behavior online.
Interesting. I like the adoption there. That's cool. Okay,
I'll give you an example. This is a funny one. So we did an experiment with a company out here, and we asked them. So we put some hidden cameras up, and we did a phishing test on employees. It was the funniest and the most amazing thing that we saw on the camera. And when an employee clicks on a phishing email or ransom email, and the ransom shows up, goes, boom, this is a ransomware. Do you know what they do? This is 9 out of 10. You know what they do?
Look over the shoulder of this, maybe?
Yes, exactly. Very good, Richard. But what's the next thing they do? They turn the monitor off.
Okay.
They go, they turn the monitor off, and they just sit there. They don't know what to do. Yeah. That's the training that needs to happen. And the time elapses, in the first minute, if they just call someone, in the first 5 minutes, they could prevent from the whole ransomware spreading through the entire network. So they sit there and they're scared, they're shaking, they don't know what to do. I mean, then usually they get on their phone and they WhatsApp or SMS or someone who's their IT guru in the family or their circle. They reach out to that person. And this is just common amongst all nationalities, all age groups, isn't it? Yeah. Then and only then, which is about 25 to 38 minutes later, they pick up the phone and call IT. And they didn't even turn the PC off. If they'd done that, that would have been a good thing. They only turned the monitor off. So, like
I guess it's understanding at a basic level what happens when you click on these, like you say, malware.
Exactly. It's just some of them that we interviewed afterward. They said, they because they weren't aware of the policy of the company. Mostly were afraid of losing their jobs. So the culture of the company, we always advise that, and we started saying, listen, from now on, our clients, whoever reports faster gets 2 tickets to whatever movies. I mean, we've got prizes for people. We actually incentivize it for reporting faster, not punishing them. But they don't know that. They think they're going to get punished, they're going to get written up or things like that. So that's the whole delay that causes a lot more damage.
Interesting.
So it's a culture thing. It has to come from top to bottom. I mean, that's what the companies of all sizes have to drive that
So
forward.
I guess giving the employees confidence that they can actually put their hand up and say, look, I made a mistake by doing this, but I'm reporting
Exactly,
this
because mistakes,
in the
right,
best
mistakes
interest,
happen.
right?
Mistakes happen. You can't really. I mean, what if you cab drivers? That's what they do. They drive taxi, and then part of their job is to get in an accident. You can't.
Yeah.
Obviously, if that happens repeatedly, that's a different story. But they should know that if they do get in an accident, they're not going to lose their job. I mean, the confidence. Once the confidence is gone, I mean, that's it. You know, you've lost that person forever.
Yeah. Yeah, quite right. And exposing yourself to possibly more threats or accidents as well.
Correct.
Look, let's bring it back a second. Let's start talking about you specifically, your career path, and what you've done over the years. So let's talk about your career specifically. Okay, obviously you've been running IT Sec for the last 10 or so years. Tell us about, I guess, your past development and what inspired you to actually set up this organization.
Well, I've just done IT all my life. After university, I joined Intel. I worked for Intel for about a year or so. Then I joined Microsoft, and then from there, I actually was I was part of. I joined the U.S. government services for many years, and actually, my training in the cybersecurity comes from that part of my career. Obviously, that's where that's the best obviously training you can get. I was part of the Cyber Command, and we did a lot of government stuff. I was stationed out here, and I was I did a lot of training for the MOI on behalf of the U.S. government, and a few other things, obviously. And once my contract was over, I felt that there was nobody here, so I stayed back and started ITSec, and it's been an interesting road. Let me tell you that. Yeah. Sometimes I feel I had gone back to US, but hey, both ways. So.
But obviously things have changed dramatically over the last 10 years since you set up your organization. But let's talk specifically about the last 18 months, because for most people this is the period in which cybersecurity in general has gained momentum. And has become more important to people as they start to really understand what it is and why we have it. So you tell me, from an industry perspective, how has the industry changed in your eyes over the last 18 months?
Well, okay, so there's two perspectives to that. There's the perspective of actual industry, the actual vendors and the innovators. And then there is the how is the customer maturity level is, right? So obviously the innovation in the market is beyond imagination, and the things that are happening, the products that are coming out, and minus obviously the 30-40% hype, still it's amazing. But the truth is, with all the technology out there, as long as that most business owners and most users either shy away from security for whatever personal reasons, usually people shy away things that they don't understand or they're afraid of.
Fair enough.
They rather ignore it. Yeah. You rather ignore it. You just or they the question mark of money plays into cybersecurity. Obviously, yes, I understand there's budgets, but the other side of this coin is that the enemy out there, let's say the hackers, they have no budget, no time, delivery time tables, exactly, and no bureaucracy. They can do whatever they want, as long as it takes to get to you. We don't have that luxury. As a project, I'm given a week to secure a company.
Yeah.
That's not enough. And 1/3 of the budget, the asking price. Well, you're just going to get the fries. You're not going to get the whole burger and fries.
Yeah.
That's just a fact. So I don't know what is driving this. However, with that said, yes, I think there are different parts of the world that is looking at security and the maturity of the cybersecurity differently. I think the West, obviously, even though you hear a lot of news, I think that's one of the other issues is that the Western world is much more open about sharing incidents publicly. And they're not afraid or ashamed of it. They're more of even as a factor of, hey, look, we're learning about it. We're going to fix it. And that's, and part of it is helping the public and other people.
Yeah.
As you move toward the Eastern world, obviously, nobody, it's one of those things that it goes back to cultural thing. We don't want to talk about if we get hacked. It's just not good. I didn't get hacked, so we don't have the correct statistics for us to see what changes that are happening out there. But we know it's way, way, way more than what is reported. I mean, maybe by tenfold more than what is reported.
Yeah. So from a business perspective, someone providing cybersecurity services and solutions, then there's still massive opportunity, right? I mean,
of course, huge.
I was talking to a client about it the other day. There's obviously the need, more of a need for cybersecurity now because of the rush to digitally transform our organizations. But
of course,
truth be told, from what I've seen, companies aren't really transforming digitally. All they're really doing is migrating to online, right? They've not undergone the process evaluation that they should have undergone in order to transform. And they've just shifted their online. That's it. So I think we're still, if we think that from a digital transformation perspective, we're really only touching the beginning of the trend, should we say, then from a cybersecurity perspective, then I guess it filters back into that as well, which means there's still a long way to go and a massive amount of opportunity.
100%. Let me give you an example that locally applies. We have taken taken the whole mobile application market, which is booming in this region. It's huge. The food delivery app and the grocery delivery app, everything delivery app. So we have actually taken 20 of these apps on our own. We picked them and we tested them without telling anyone about it. Yeah. And every single one. I mean, I can't even say 19 out of 20, but all 20 failed miserably. Not failed because they had a security flaw. They failed because they never were tested for security. They just $70,000. You make an app, you put it on the app store, and whoop, here you go. And and your credit card number, and we all put up. I do it too. I mean, I even put my credit card on one of those apps, and I'm like, what the hell am I thinking?
But is that the approach now? So you I guess pen test, or you test someone's security in the way that you just demonstrated?
No. This is not the approach. This is not the industry norm. Yeah, this is not the industry norm. No, we did it as a study. I mean, and we didn't even, we didn't release obviously the findings. We did contact the companies and told them we have done that. Usually, when you do that, you're not going to hear from them. I mean, this is again goes back to that whole cultural thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, but we told them, hey, this wasn't a study. We're not going to release it, but we're not sharing the reports with you. You need to fix your application. So we're actually internally, on a side note, we're launching a campaign, hopefully maybe this beginning of the next month, that says that we're going to shift focus from going after the vendors, because that's really not working. We're saying, hey, test your app. They don't want to do it. So we're going to shift focus from actually the application operators or developers, for that matter, into the actually application users. And our campaign is going to be called "Is my app secure?" And we're going to kind of say, ask the application guys to provide to give you security information. Is it tested? Don't put your credit card in there before. And then with along that, we're launching a NFT badge that is on the blockchain, that every app that we test actually receives that NFT badge that they can put on their web application or mobile application, that you as the consumer or the user can click it and can see the latest result. Obviously, it doesn't show the vulnerabilities. It just says what date it was tested by ITSEC or a partner of ITSEC, and if the results, if the testing was remediated or not, and how secure that is. And since it's on the blockchain, every NFT is unique, and those badges, we're hoping that which we'll try to push that into the market, saying, hey, if you see this badge,
this is what it means, right? Yeah,
it's a good, because neither Apple or Google are, they are enforcing 100%, but not what really matters. They are enforcing very basic.
From a consumer perspective, we don't generally check. We just there's this assumption that things that we use are secure.
It's an assumption if it's on this app store, but which is a good assumption. It should be like that, and it is. But that security testing, or what Apple or Google require, it's just basic compliance.
Yeah.
It does not meet the today's broad spectrum of issues that needs to be addressed, and that's now the industry. But because the reason is that if Apple and Google want to make it, if they want to make it that difficult, the whole that wheel of application that is out there and is turning, it's going to come to a screeching halt.
Yeah, right.
So they rather, it's one of those, remember those old days, GM or Ford, they had I think it was GM, had they didn't recall a car which the gas tank would explode on impact. They did a study, and it was cheaper to pay the people who died off of those accidents than to recall the entire, those cars and replace the gas tank on it.
Yeah.
It's exactly that same exactly scenario. It's a lot cheaper to,
from a consumer perspective, is not to necessarily trust but look for industry badges to confirm that they've they're constantly undergoing certain vulnerability
exactly
tests.
and the vendors that do get the testing, get those badges, are differentiating themselves in the market and have a value added to offer to the user.
So do you see, if you kind of roll this into the future in the region, then so the question is, how do you anticipate things changing over the next 12 to 18 months from a cybersecurity perspective? Do you see something like this taking off? Do you see the market being driven by user sentiment rather than compliance, like you say?
I think there should be a shift, because the old model or the current model has been around for now, let's say 15 years now, right? Or almost, exactly. So it's been 12 years that we start having smartphones. The current version of the smartphones, it's been around about 4 to 5 years, with all the variety of applications that you can do so many things with it. This whole, live online and shop online and eat online is about 3 years, 3 or 4 years that it's just taken off. So yes, so as you can see, that the vendor side of things is not going to change. Why? Me as an entrepreneur, I get an app, I get an idea, I go borrow money, $60,000-$70,000. I develop this app. The last thing I want to do, some Amir punk to show up and tell me, hey, I can't go live on 15th of September when I told my uncle that I borrowed $35,000 from. The application is going to go live. Yeah, just those things. So we try to educate the market, educate those vendors, say, guys, this is not a big deal. This is solvable, and you can do a lot of things. And then there's certain aspects of those the application guys out there that work with the government or institutional enterprises. They're all required as a part of their obviously compliance. But to the consumer, those guys, no. So yes, I think if we educate the market, is better. It's exactly maybe what's an example I can use? I think the demand is always much more powerful, obviously, than the supply side of things. You know.
So do you
If
see
we,
this
as
as being
consumers,
the single greatest challenge then? This mindset, as you describe it in the market, is this the biggest challenge? So how do you think this is
yes,
going to be overcome in the coming
100%. 100%, and that's just the application side of things, and that actually copies into everything else. The IT manager inside of the company, and you know, the IT director on the enterprise. It's the same exact mindset, right?
Yeah.
Don't stop the business. Yes, we need security, or you know, the funny thing is, when the chairman or the CEO says, "Us, who's going to hack us?"
Yeah.
I that was my best. I mean, I love that sentence, because when he doesn't think he has anything valuable that he can be hacked,
Yeah.
he is clueless. He has no. A person who says that is just, he's really needs to sit down and really give it a thought, because it's not about what you have. And I'll give you an example. The company that did the Burj Khalifa MEP, mechanical, electrical, and plumbing, huge company out of Jebel Ali, 7,000 employees, and you know. So we looked at them, we did an assessment for them, and their chairman exactly said that to me the day after we were able to access the entire archive of Burj Khalifa blueprints inside of their servers.
Yeah.
If I was a hacker, I'd hack them, get the blueprints. I mean,
Yeah.
so he said, "Who's going to hack us? We sell freaking plumbing." That's what he said.
Yeah.
And then when we showed him, he left the room, because he just had nothing to say. And it was just, and the funny part is that
it's giving people the message that they are vulnerable, I guess, or that there is value in being hacked. But then, I guess in this region specifically, is how do you convey that message without putting someone's back up, offending them, or making them feel, I guess, well, exposed, definitely, but
yeah, exactly. So,
people always
but
looking at the face, right?
we were hired to show him that. But even at that point, obviously, you know, I try to always put myself on the other side of the table. That's perspective we were talking about before, and I would feel violated also, even if I hired you to, you know, come and violate me, to find the violation point. So it's a bit, it's big to chew off, because at first you go, "Oh my God, what could have happened?" And what am I going to do about it? Is just, you just don't know, because there's just not enough information. And the problem is, it's such an emotional issue, such an emotional issue. It comes down to, you know, that no one is willing to just listen, hear us out, or hear the cybersecurity guys out. Okay, what's a quick fix? How much is it? Okay, I'll take A. I don't want B too long. I don't want C too expensive. Give me a mixture of both, and we call it a day.
Yeah.
And it's exactly that spot that the cyber criminals have figured out. Cyber criminals haven't figured out any computer systems. You know what they figured out? They figured out we're all stupid. That's what they figured out. They figured out the entire world that is not them is extremely stupid, and they write it, and they winning every day, and they will win this war all the way to the day that we stop. You know, we start thinking differently.
Before, the market's being driven by the criminal mindset, and we need to be one step ahead of that in order to constantly prevent as the threat evolves. Okay, so let me ask you a question then. So looking ahead now to the future, so the next 5 to 10 years down the line, okay, what does the cybersecurity industry look like to you?
I think that cybersecurity will have a huge transformation within the next maybe 24 months, where the AI will start playing a huge role in it. I think this is where...
Does that not play a huge role anyway? Because I was under the impression that, certainly from a lot of the people that I've spoken with, their interpretation of the application, if you like, of AI is automate anything that you can when it comes to cybersecurity. Anything that needs human touch, obviously, that needs to be
Correct.
still relevant. But anything you can automate, get it done straight away. That's where AI would come in, right?
Yeah. Well, what's out there today is really not AI. It's more of automation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just it's just reprogram patterns. When we're talking about AI, is we're talking about a system, a machine that actually looks, learns, and predicts. We don't have the prediction out there today, right?
Yeah.
A body or a systematic neural system that actually now could, because of the behavior of certain of my users on my network, the AI will be able to predict that this kind of behavior will lead into a ransomware on this date.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? So that the data is not enough. The data is not out there enough for it to learn. So it's actually doing that analysis at the moment. And the other thing is that it's not built into every layer yet. We need the AI built in, cybersecurity is at 7-8 layers. We need that AI built in every single layer. At the moment, it's probably half, not even fully built in to the endpoints, which is your PC. If you have this newest type of endpoint protection, they all use some kind of a cloud AI, and it's built into some of the edge equipment, which is the firewalls and things like that. Some of them.
Yeah.
The whole middle and the whole outer is missing. So it needs to be built into every layer, and they need to be able to talk to each other and share data. I think that's coming, and when that happens, I think we're going to see a huge transformation in the market. But what I don't see yet, or I can't really visualize, is because the hackers always will be there, even when that happens, how they're going to combat that, and that's going to be interesting at that. That's going to be interesting. And with that is that I think that the whole digital currency, cryptocurrency, is going to be bigger than it is today. It's the future. This is not, no one can stop, even Central Bank of the United States. Nobody can stop this. It's happening. It's going to be there. And
okay, so let's talk for a minute then about talent in the industry specifically. Okay, so obviously we talk quite in depth about the industry in general, but as an organization within cybersecurity, what do you believe are the key factors in attracting great talent to an organization like ITSEC? What is it you look for?
Okay, so as a cybersecurity specialist or a company, so for us, obviously, we don't care about degrees. We don't care about education as long as you can read or write. We care about your hands-on experiences, where you've been. For us, government is very important. If you've done your tenure in some kind of a clandestine services or military type of environment, obviously you're on top of the list, because you have discipline, you have training, you have execution. You see what I mean? So the structure of those institutions deliver that everything that is required to deliver a cybersecurity project. The execution part, the attention to the details, and the responsibility aspect of it. Beyond that, obviously, we need to look at your perspective, like we were talking about. It is so important that every individual that is in this industry, for working for an industry like us as a vendor, is everyone can get a checklist. You can even become a pen tester tomorrow, Richard. You take a course, they give you a checklist and a software, you plug it in. That's not it. That's not what hackers do. Hackers don't do that. Hackers don't have a checklist, and they don't use standard software stuff. That they do that on the first trial. They look at every possible angle, and a person that wants to work for a cybersecurity company is a typical person, a profile of someone who can look at a problem at 17 different angles, and every perspective either represents a new opportunity or a new problem again. And this person usually sees opportunity, not challenges. So
Yeah,
that's perspective is more important. However, when you go to the more corporate world, obviously that is obviously not as strict, but still, you need to. I think that today's top security people, let's say, if it's C-level or a director or a manager, they should have the communication skill or the selling skill of convincing their board of directors, their CEO, and their chairman. They should not be. They should be able to convert cybersecurity terminology to terminology CEOs and chairmen understand. What do they understand? Profit. So you don't go tell them you need an X4718XW firewall. He tells you to get out of his office. You're crazy. No, we're not getting that model. Get a cheaper model. That's what he will tell you.
yeah,
But if you tell that the next breach could affect the reputation, the assets, the customer base, the confidence in the market, and all of those can translate into less dollars at the end of the quarter, I guarantee you, not that you get your budget, you get double your budget. We don't have that. That's the skill set. Everybody knows how to do the hacking and do the software, but they need to be trained on how to sell this internally.
Yeah, so how to create the opportunity cost, or build an appreciation for the opportunity cost of not implementing the cybersecurity that you've talked
Correct.
about. Okay, great. So now, what would you say the toughest things to recruit for within cybersecurity right now? Skills, experience, or tools exposure?
Yeah. Well, obviously, experience. This is such a dynamic, rapid industry, and the things that are just happening, there's no precedent for them today, right? It's not like, the auto industry. So no one has enough experience. I mean, everything is trial and trial and error, obviously, even with the hackers. I mean, they're doing trial and errors 150 times to hit you with a ransomware, and then maybe 151st time, they'll get you, right? So yeah, the experience is there, but obviously the type of character, the characteristic that is required, obviously, you can see in the person that it's not about experience. He welcomes the new challenge. He's willing to, ride with it, fight it, and figure it out. Instead of a person says, "Oh, I've not done that before," and says, "Oh, I'm not trained for that."
Yeah.
This is it. This is an industry that no one is trained for. If you hear the word, someone says, "I'm sorry, that wasn't in the course material that I took to become a cybersecurity specialist," you're done. I mean, you're pretty much not really a cybersecurity guy, because this is exactly what this is. Nothing's in the course material.
Like you said, and that's where I guess the mindset is something that you have to look for and evaluate at an interview level, right? It's like, do you have the right approach to solving problems or uncovering opportunities, as you said? Yeah. Okay, so just on a personal level, Amir, what do you do to keep on top of your personal development and knowledge, I guess, in such a changing environment?
Personally, you mean?
Yeah.
Oof. I have lost multiple pets and girlfriends because of my time spent online reading stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I probably spent 3 to 4 hours a day. I mean, at the office, I don't need my lunchtime. I try to tell people, hey, just give me an hour, don't disturb me, and that's what I do. I get online and try to keep up with that day's news and that day's technology, and it's still not possible. I mean, so I've chosen a few things. Obviously, you have to narrow it, and I just look at that to try to be as good as possible in a few things, and having a little bit of knowledge about everything, but there's just no way to be good at everything. It's just too much.
So are there any particular resources that you use that you can mention to our listeners? Whether they be webinars, news streams, websites?
Oh, no. There there are. So one of the resources that we try to learn from is actually the dark web. So because obviously there's a lot of elements of criminality there, so there's a lot of reading actually there, and a lot of the hackers do post their findings or the methods that they use, and it's just so interesting, you know. And they sell it. They sell it for $30. I actually spend, you know, maybe a couple of $1,000s a month buying these things. And you'll be amazed on, you know, you're like, wow, how did you think about it? Yeah, you just did what, you know, the perspective is amazing. So that no, there's a lot of resources. I try to look at different, not a particular site or publication. I think you just get to balance it out and do a better research. I don't think that one perspective again is correct or does justification. I think everybody needs to come up with their own conclusion. So for that matter, is that the resources, is that something that I think the best resource, if you get good at Google, I think I've mastered it. I can find what I want, how I want it on the first try. So if you do that, I think the resources at your fingertips are enormous.
Yeah. Okay, great. And then, so where do you see ITSec in the next 5 years from a business perspective?
We are really hoping that our new, obviously, our cloud security offering with the obviously the user profile or profiling that we're building into it can and at the price point we're offering it to have a huge market penetration, obviously. But you know, in 5 years, I think that we probably not going to be around.
Not going to be around? Why do you say that?
Most likely, we're going to get gobbled up by a bigger guy at some point in time.
So the target
that's
is
the only way to survive. Of course, exactly this. Yeah, the market is going through a lot of huge changes, obviously, and if you have a bit of technology and a bit of obviously packaging and a bit of customer base, the big guys take you and they just gobble you up because they're hungry for that technology, right? They're hungry for that base and they're hungry for that market.
So look, one final question.
Actually, and I hope that's obviously the end game for us.
Yeah, so, yes. No, for sure.
So that way we have the resources. Hopefully, I'll have the resources either to start the next thing or stay on board and given the resources to expand and build even bigger things, right?
Excellent. So the last question in closing then, Amir, do you have any advice out there for anyone who's looking at maybe considering a move into cybersecurity, or who's actually already in cybersecurity and is looking to grow their career to the next level?
When you say someone is moving to cybersecurity, are we talking about someone without any IT background? Is that what you're referring to, Richard? Or someone within the IT?
Started their journey, let's say, from a career perspective.
I think that they need to really look at this. I think if you don't have the proper IT or engineering or electronic background, I don't think that might not be my advice is that might be the right career choice for you at that point. If you're younger, if you're 18 or 19 or that's a different story. But people that are in the IT industry or electronics or some type of a computer related industry, they definitely can move, and that is a logical, obviously, evolution of their cycle. I think that they should look at proper certification programs, the ones that are accredited and accepted, and there's a few of them out there. Without those certifications means so much to us because it's hands-on. It's particular training. It's not about, you know, cybersecurity. It's about certain type of methodology that is being used. So take proper trainings, and you better not watch Netflix for the next 20 years of your life. You better be spending that time tinkering at home. And this is not something you do in the office, right?
Yeah,
So
right.
you got to invest in yourself and so many hours trying things. Definitely not an 8 to 5 job. And if you don't have the passion for it, don't do it. It's one of those things that will wear you out if you're not passionate about it. Just everything's stressful. Obviously, the jobs have stress. Has the not only the whole stress, but that whole in the news thing also. It wears you out. Yeah. But if you're passionate about it, and like people around me or even myself, it's fun. It's really fun. You have really fun with it. But that's exactly it. You have to be passionate about it. If it's a career move in a lateral movement for dollars and cents, and you're not passionate about it, I will not advise it. But if you're passionate, this is something you've been doing. A guy we just recently we took on board. The guy was he did some kind of a assembly line stuff, but he's fantastic. He took apart, and we're doing IoT testing for medical equipment. This is the next thing. Hackers are trying to hack hospitals and pacemakers and things like that. So this guy, he is so good at actually reverse engineering things, which every hacker must be one of the best, fantastic reverse engineers. And the way he does it, and he has no proper training, and he's just never been in. But that's just he's passionate about it, and he'll sit there for 17 hours and won't even go to the bathroom, and he get it done. So that's the difference. I think the passion factor is the biggest factor.
Awesome. Well, look, thanks very much for your time today, Amir. I think we'll bring it to a close there. I hope everyone enjoyed listening. A recording of the session will be available in the coming days on the Alchematics website, which is alchematics.com/webinars, and our company page on LinkedIn. So please like and follow us for updates. We'll be back next month with another leader for the CyberSEC Leaders Webinar Series. If you'd like to join us as a guest for future sessions, then please feel free to drop me an email at richard@alchematics.com. That's it, and we'll see you next month. Thank you again, Amir.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me, Richard. Appreciate it.
Cheers, buddy. Take care. Bye-bye.